evening, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday night. We're back again on a Tuesday, the All Arsenal show. We're going to be going through that wonderful and painful game last Tuesday night, and also that painful game on Friday for the women's as well. Lots to talk about, lots of news, internationals, all that kind of thing. So we will get straight into it by introducing the panel for this evening. As always, my co-host with me, Liam. How are you doing?
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, I'm all good. Thank you very much. Yourself?
Good. Yeah, all good, thank you. And how's it going at home? Is it everything all right?
Well, we got. Well, I think we're entering the home straight now, so I think we maybe have a baby with us within very long. So yeah, it's been a pretty stressful day.
Well, hopefully we could take your mind off it for an hour or so this evening.
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. And Sparks, nice to have you back on. How are you?
Oh, I'm all right. I got a bit of a flu, so if I do sniffle or sneeze, I apologise now. But yeah, I'm here. I'm awake. I'm alive.
Brilliant.
So,
we love to hear it.
Good to be on.
And Abby, it's a debut for you to join our show, so welcome and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. As you can see, I'm rocking some really dull colours tonight. And as I said earlier, I'm clean because there's nothing better for you guys than me smelling great right now. You can't smell me, but just so you know, I do smell great.
It's in our minds. And last but certainly not least, our good pal Jonesy. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all good. All good. It could be worse. Could be a Spurs fan and out the FA Cup. Losing to Fulham, more like. But yeah, I'm good.
Nice, lovely. Yeah, we just briefly brought up the team sheet there, did we?
Yeah, sorry, I'm having a bit of a howler with this. It's because we all work from two different streams now. it's quite hard.
Yeah, that's perfect. So yeah, obviously last Tuesday night, Champions League night, round of 16 against Porto. The return fixture, shall we say? We were all pretty geared up for it, weren't we? What was it like, Liam? Before the game, the build up in the ground and the pub, if you managed to get there before, was it good? Was it tense?
I know James is going to have a bit of a chuckle about this one, but it's a bit of a sore subject for me last Tuesday. Yeah, I had a work meeting on Wednesday, so I had to get the last train back from Paddington to Swindon at 11:30. So I sadly had to miss the extra time and penalties. So I was sitting in Paddington train station watching the penalties. Yeah, so very, very sore that. But I think before the game, I would like the pubs weren't that big, but the pubs weren't that busy. But I think, yeah, again, it's a Tuesday night, people coming home from work and all that kind of stuff. But I did notice, and I don't know about you, Jonesy, but once we got into that stadium, there was just a different electricity in the concourse around it. It seemed more like an Arsenal-Tottenham kind of game, if you know what I mean. The atmosphere was brilliant in there. Everyone was singing before the game, and yeah, I think in terms of games, like waiting for the players to come out and the players coming out, I think that's the best atmosphere that I've heard over the last 2 years. It was electric in there, absolutely electric, and the fans definitely turned up. But that was brilliant to see. But I expected that, and yeah, I thought it was always going to be a tough game. I thought we'd probably deal with it a little bit more easier than we did, if I'm being frankly honest here. But fair play to Porto. They had a game plan. They stuck to it, even at 1-0 down, even when they went to 1-1. And they made it really hard for us. But you know what? I wouldn't change it for anything now. I think winning like that actually breeds us more confidence going forward in terms of obviously going to a penalty shootout, having to dig deep, and to keep the composure as well. And that penalty shootout like we did. I just think that'll hold us in good stead for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that's completely fair enough, isn't it? And Sparks, were you at the game?
No, I watched it from home. Yeah, I had to work, so I couldn't get back in time to go to the game. I was working in Gatwick, so it's just a bit of a nightmare. I knew beforehand, to be fair, so I didn't buy the ticket, sort of thing. I passed it along. So, but I have to say, coming through on the TV, the atmosphere just seemed on a different level. I watched a replay, and it did seem like they turned it down for some reason. I don't know what that was for, but yeah, it wasn't as prominent on the replay as it was in the actual live live show, but yeah, you could tell, and everybody was up for it. It was brilliant, particularly the penalty shootout. The North Bank did a great job with that, and I think they had everything to do with them missing the penalties the way they did.
They did their job, didn't they? Put them off,
Yeah,
waving the
absolutely,
scarves,
yeah.
whistling, and all sorts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Jonesy. Just obviously, while it's up on the screen here, the team sheet. I don't think it was much of a surprise to any of us, really. Was it maybe Gabriel Jesus that you were surprised didn't start, or were you happy with this?
Yeah, no, it was probably the lineup we all thought we would see, other than maybe Jesus starting for Trossard. Because he's not that great when he starts games. He's more of an impact player from a sub. So I thought Jesus might have played from the start just to unlock him a bit more. But yeah, I was happy with the lineup. I was in there myself. It was electric. As Liam said, the place was, my ears were ringing. That might have been through the drink as well. But it was absolutely electric in there. And the penalty shootouts, I swear my iWatch was going off so many times. I thought an ambulance was going to be waiting for me outside the ground afterwards. My blood pressure was skyrocketing through the roof, but it was a great day. A great birthday, to be fair. It was my birthday, so it's one I'm never going to forget.
I was just going to say, did you manage to make it into the ground sober, or was it always a daily session leading up to it?
you know me, G. It's always partially sober into the ground, but yeah, I still stay. No jokes.
Still remember the end.
Yeah.
Lovely stuff. And Abby, did you watch it at home, or?
I did. I live a fair way away from London, and I'm still trying to get these tickets to one of these games. I think the last game that we went to was a Europa League game a couple of seasons ago. Anyway, I didn't do any work all day. Don't tell my boss, because I was that nervous. And do you know, mine and my wife's roles, normally she's a very pessimistic Arsenal supporter, but we've kind of switched roles now. She's the optimistic one, and I'm the pessimistic one. I'm a very positive person normally. This whole season, I'll be like, no. But this match especially, I couldn't really eat, which is great. I could do with a couple more games like that from Arsenal. And then I couldn't even actually have a drink beforehand. It was the school night, so I wasn't going to drink, but yeah, I got 20 minutes in. I think, after we scored the first goal, and I had myself a glass of Prosecco, and that was half a bottle done. But we have this thing in my household. Ever since the women played the Euros, I won't be in the room when it's a penalty shootout. I'll leave the room. I'll go into the pantry, and I've got this out. I put my fingers in my ears. I can still hear anything. All I do, I sing positive vibes, positive vibes, positive vibes. I see positive vibes, positive vibes, positive vibes. I see over and over again until I hear my wife screech, and then I come running and go. Like that. So I did watch the replays, but I kind of missed that. Like, oh my god, is he or not? So it's really stressful in our house when Arsenal play. It's very loud, and
can I ask why we haven't got a clip of that? we need clips of that. That needs to be on like time.
That'll go viral.
You know what? I think instead of putting my Twitter handle on here, everybody should follow my missus on Instagram, because she has many videos of me freaking out, screaming, shouting, knee sliding on carpet. Bear in mind, I'm 40 years old. Okay, I can't get up after a knee slide for one. Oh yeah, and we've got a new puppy as well, and God no, this puppy doesn't not know what she's walked into when the Arsenal matches come on. But yeah, it was scary times, but it was good times. I'm over the moon. I've got flashbacks of just when we used to actually play in the Champions League, and yeah, it was great.
Good times. It sounds like fun. I think we should all go around to your house and watch together.
Yeah, well, you don't have to even come round. Actually, you could probably hear it from the stadium. It's that loud. Everyone in the village knows that we're playing, Arsenal playing. Nice.
We're all a bit like that, though, aren't we? Our inner child sort of comes out at certain stages, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And Leah, we'll just obviously go into the start of the game. We've said how good the atmosphere was, but did it last long? Because from watching it at home, the commentators kind of kept saying how tense it was and how they could feel the worry on the Arsenal fans around them. Was that actually resonating with the whole stadium, or was that just something that's maybe they were trying to force that wasn't actually happening?
Yeah, I think as fans we wanted a fast start, didn't we? We wanted the game done and dusted, like where it was never going to be done and dusted either way, because we was going to have to score at least 3 goals without reply to get a lead where we'd be comfortable in. So that was going to be the first part of the issue. I think the second part was that I do think it did become tense, especially late in the first half, because it was obviously people getting kind of frustrated. We know what Porto was going to turn up to do. They've done exactly the same thing at home. Played all their antics. Obviously, we know what the manager kind of set them up to do, and that weren't going to change at the Emirates. If anything, it was going to be worse. Goalkeeper time wasting after 2 minutes. We expected all the box of tricks, and we got all the box of tricks, but we got the goal right at the right moment. And yet again, when you look at the goal and watch the goal, it's just pure patience, isn't it? And sometimes I think this is the difference now between Arsenal now to Arsenal 10, 15 years ago. If this was Arsenal 10, 15 years ago, we'd have been caught in a counter-attack after about 25 minutes, and the other team would have scored, then the other team would have scored again. But this Arsenal team is more tactically aware in terms of what they got to do, and I think they're more patient. And yeah, it was frustrating, it was hard, but I thought, I thought once we got the goal, I thought we'd at least get another one in the second half, but it didn't come, did it? And it became very, very tense again, like going into the second half, because you're sitting there thinking, like, all it needs is Porto to have one counter attack and score. But luckily, I suppose the lucky thing is we ain't got the away goal to worry about us. Now, that's a big piece for me, because it would have been even worse if we was 1-0 up and they then got an away goal. So it's quite lucky that philosophy is out the window now, because then that would have become an even worse situation trying to defend a 1-0 lead without not conceding. But yeah, Porto did what they had to do, as I said before. And they frustrated us, and they've done it really well, to be fair. And I've got to put props out to Pepe over the 2 legs, for a geezer that's in his 40s now to be performing at that level in the Champions League against a team that's very confident in itself and very vibrant in itself in Arsenal. He was superb over the 2 legs.
Absolutely, just showed his class really at the end, didn't it? Even with the confidence and the youth in the legs of our attackers, he was still pretty much bossing them throughout the whole game, wasn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, I did slightly neglect the chat when we started here. So
that's all right. Let me just quickly go in then.
Good evening to
obviously, good evening to Mr. Morgan, or good evening. Good to see you on, mate. Good evening to Matthew Hudson. Good evening to the Hawkwind. Good evening to Ryan as well. Good to see you all on. Good evening to Guna Rona. That's Mr. Ian himself, isn't it? How you doing, mate? Good evening to Sumin. Nice to see you on as well, matey. And good evening to Tony. I'm sure he'll be on tomorrow night on Jonesy's show as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm going to prop you up now, Jonesy. Obviously, Jonesy's got a WWE show tomorrow at 9 p.m. If that's your cup of tea, then come and join him at that time.
Big time for sure. Yes, apologies to the chat for ignoring you at the beginning.
Yeah, we did kind of neglect him a little bit.
I did. I'm sorry, I panicked slightly this evening. But as always, keep any questions firing away. We always like to interact with you when we remember to, but we do appreciate it. So do get involved throughout the show. And Sparks, I think we were all bigging it up to be maybe a better game than it was going to be last Tuesday. Were you surprised that Porto turned up and sort of played the defensive, or were you surprised that we weren't? But I know Liam said we were kind of patient and played our game, but were you surprised that we didn't get going a little bit sooner? Because it did feel like we had quite a slow start to this one.
No, I'm not surprised at all. It was exactly what I expected it to be. And certain people were going 3-4-0 and whatever, and I was like, it's not going to happen. And I think I predicted on one of the shows a 3-1, but I didn't really believe it. I was just like, well, it's going to be a 1-0. It's going to be so tense. And yeah, I was so thankful that the away goals rule wasn't in play, because all they'd done is flooded up, tried to get a goal, and then buttered out of it. So yeah, thank God for the away goals rule going. It's scuppered us along many a time. Thank God it's gone, and we saw it through. It wasn't easy. It was very uncomfortable. But yeah, that's exactly what I expected it to be honest.
Mm.
But it did feel like that the players were kind of had a bit of self belief and kind of confidence that they could just go whenever, and that's what it felt like when the goal went in. It was just like, well, we can just go again, but it just kind of never really seemed to happen. I don't know if that's I mean, the ref did break things up quite well for them. There was a lot of kicking going on and such like, but I don't know. I think it was just a professional performance. They didn't really want to make any mistakes and didn't want to give away any stupid goals. So, exactly how I expected it. Kind of was hoping for another one just to kind of get it done in normal time. But when it got to like 70 minutes, I think we all knew extra time and penalties were coming.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And just obviously there was only one goal in the game, but what a goal it was. Made completely by Martin Odegaard, the most unbelievable pass you've probably seen for a little while. Jonesy, what did you make of the build up to that, and then that insane assist from Martin Odegaard?
Yeah, the guy is just every time that he plays, he's just proving, how much of a steal he was. At £30 million is crazy price. But that kid, I call him a kid because he's obviously younger. It's like literally, I've said it before. It's like if Özil and Bergkamp were to somehow have a love child, it would be Martin Odegaard. Is the way he can pick out a pass out of nothing is just crazy. His vision, I think, is he's getting to the stage where it's better than Bergkamp. So I'll go that far. But then it played it into Trossard as well, and there was like a cool finish into the side of the corner, which was brilliant. And obviously, the stadium erupted from there, and like people thought we would go on and push on and get another one, or they would open up a bit more. But no, they still sat back with their game plan. But brilliant goal, brilliant pass. I just hope Odegaard, we keep him for the rest of this competition fit and healthy, and he's lifting that trophy at Wembley.
The dream, isn't it?
The dream.
And Abby, just because we haven't spoken before, I just want to get your thoughts on Kai Havertz, because I actually thought that was probably one of his best games he'd had for us that night. He was absolutely everywhere, involved in everything, winning free kicks. Obviously, he's shown a bit of a, not dirty side, but a bit of a cheeky side, a little push, which I thought was well deserved. But proper getting stuck in and fighting for us. So what do you make of him?
Yeah, he's naughty, isn't he? I love it. I love a bit of naughtiness to do. Too many naughty players, and it might be a little bit too much, but it's something we've kind of, I think, lacked. And when I say naughty, I don't mean the Gabriel Magalhaes kind of like tough, kind of beast naughty. I mean that like cheeky little one. It's almost like a Ben White, isn't he? But he's a little bit more snarlier than Ben White. Ben White is very cheeky, isn't he? He's like, well, you're going to mug me off, I'm going to mug you off, and then wink at the camera. Whereas Havertz actually means everything. He's a bit more snarly, and I do like that. Listen, I'm a huge fan of Kai Havertz. I didn't watch much of him when he was in the book at Bayer Leverkusen, but when he went to Chelsea, I was dead jealous. I thought they got a right player there, and they just seemed to kind of kill him. But even when he was at Chelsea, you could see that there was a very intelligent player there with a lot of talent. And I do believe that's the Kai Havertz that we're seeing right now. And you're right, he was all over the place and putting his stamp on the game. He's surprisingly very strong. And quick. Yeah, I know he was running against a 6-year-old Pepe and everything, and even I can't run faster than Pepe. But he's surprisingly strong and quick. Could have, would have, should have seen him get on the end of a few of these crosses and make the most of his chances. Don't get me wrong, but you're up against a very experienced defender and a very tight back line just kind of hoping that no other Premier League team watches how they defended against us, because it was perfect how they split their defenders. We don't often see that in the Premier League, and we didn't seem to be able to know how to get around it. Someone big and strong like Havertz did well to put his stamp on the game. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. A comment from Ian there, just saying delighted Leo got the goal as well. People were starting to get on his back. I'll come to you, Liam. I think he's quite an easy target sometimes, isn't he? Because we've seen him do so well coming off the bench that sometimes when he starts, he's not really making that much of an impact. But do you think that that goal will also just help his confidence as well going forward, that he's now showing us that he can be there and help the team when he is starting and take the place of someone if they are missing?
No, I don't. I don't think he will get in that starting team when everyone's fit. And I know that's harsh, but it's true. He's not going to get in that starting team whatsoever. When you've got a fit Martinelli, a fit Saka, and a fit Havertz or Jesus, they're going to be starting three. I did think he had quite a bang average first half, if I'm being totally honest with myself. But he is the one player with the ability, if you get half a chance, that he can put it in the back of the net. So I do feel sorry for him a little bit at times, but then I think some of it is his own doing as well. I don't think he gets himself into games enough at times when, I don't know. I just don't think that when you got that starting 11, that Trossard starts that game. But I think as we get into the later part of the competition, and if we do get into the kind of semi-finals and get there, he is the one player, if you're looking at after 50, 60 minutes, you need a goal, he is the guy to bring on to maybe take a chance. So, yeah, it was good that he scored the goal. It was a great finish from a great ball. It was a beautiful goal. But yeah, I've seen so many games with Trossard in the first half. It's not all down to him whatsoever, but I've seen so many games where he just doesn't get himself into the game enough. And I think, yet again, I don't know what Jonesy would have thought because he was at the game, but I think we did miss Martinelli's pace in that first half. And when you got Martinelli's pace going down that wing, a lot of stuff happens over the other side with Saka and that as well, because the teams they're too much of a double threat. And you can just tell when Martinelli's out that maybe Saka's game a little bit is taken away as well from him. So I'm looking forward to Martinelli coming back. But I still think that Trossard's going to offer us quite a bit moving forwards into the latter part of the season, but I do think it'll be off the bench, personally.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair enough. And Sparks, just thinking of, before we go into penalties and that side of the game, what did you make of Jesus when he came on? Because I thought he was actually looking pretty sharp and getting involved and cause a bit of a nuisance to their back line. Did you think the same, or did you think he could have maybe got involved a little bit more?
No, I thought he got involved perfectly. I think he did everything he was put on to do. I mean, he could have scored with his first touch, couldn't he? So you know, that would have been very nice and kind of put us all out of blood pressure and needing heart surgery and God knows what else. So getting on a bit now, and I have to worry about these things. But I think he did enough pressing around. He did enough to basically cause a nuisance of himself. Yeah, shame he couldn't score. Really, that's about the.
That would have been a great goal.
Wouldn't it? And it didn't have to be with his first touch. Any point it would have been nice, but yeah, it wasn't to be. But yeah, I think he had good energy. He didn't seem to be carrying any kind of lingering injury, at least. So, hopefully that's just trying to get back into match fitness, and it's put a lot in his legs against kind of a strong opponent. I think he did get kicked a couple of times as well, he didn't wince or anything with it, so that's a good sign. But yeah, I think the only thing he didn't do was score, really.
Yeah, that's fair enough. A good question again here from Ian. What do you guys think are our limitations in the Champions League this season? Can we win it? He thinks we're better than Bayern, but also knowing Man City could help us if we get to that stage. Madrid would be very tough. Jonesy, I completely agree with everything he's saying there. I think now's the time. I think we all kind of said the other day when the draw came out that it's a bit of revenge. But I kind of see it more of let's forget what happened before and let's see now's the time where we can show that we have these are the stages where we can show we have improved and we're not that team from that era. We're not gonna maybe fall into that mindset because we're a completely different team now. What did you number one think of getting Bayern and two about possibly the next round as well?
I was pleased to get them, to be fair, only because, to put Harry Kane out would be lovely. But yeah, like you say, it's not the same team as when we had them Bayern Munich games, in the past. It's a completely different team, different mindset. I'm not worried about anyone we face at the moment. I know that might sound smug, that might sound brash, whatever, but it's just the way these players are playing at the moment, the way Arteta's got them drilled. And they should be like that. They shouldn't be scared to play any team because you never want to walk onto a football pitch with fear. Yeah. I mean, most of us probably play football. You never show any weaknesses or fear. So I can't wait to face Bayern Munich. I really can't. And plus, they've got no fans here either, which is going to be a major factor. I think hopefully Arsenal let the home fans have the tickets as well. And 60,000 Gooners. I mean, Harry Kane will wish he was still at Arsenal. I'll tell you that. But it's going to be great. And I don't know about you guys, but I see Madrid beating City. But I don't see them getting through. But that might be just me. But it's a big shout. But I see Liam's face. But I can see Madrid beating City, to be fair, and us facing them.
Nice. Abby, I'll say the same to you. Just your thoughts on when we got drawn to Bayern Munich and what you're thinking about those games, going into those games as well.
I'm so scared. I'm going to be even more nervous. I am. Right. Okay. So, the thought of facing Harry Kane, and I wish I put a bet on it at the start of the season because I said it right at the very start. I said, do you know what? Now he's gone to Bayern. I bet you anything we'll play them in the Champions League. We'll get through the group stage and we'll face Bayern Munich, and it'll be Harry Kane coming along with his pretty thing that he is. So, yeah, he's probably going to get a hat-trick. But anything Bayern can do... Oh, God, no, I've just said it as well. I've put it out there. Anything Bayern can do, we can do better. What I'd love to see at the Emirates, he strikes me as one of these really petulant people that if you boo him, he's just going to do better. He's one of those, isn't he? You boo me, well, I'll score even more goals. So every time Kane gets the ball, when his name's called, shut up. Like, nobody make a sound in the stadium. So you're going to have 60,000 fans all just go, boom. And then somebody else goes, ah! Like that. I think that would really, really put him off his game. So can we please do that? I think it's a tough one. I know we all think, okay, yeah, we're a better team. We can really go. We can go far in this. But I just remember how long it took Man City to win the Champions League, and it's like what we saw against Porto. I don't think it's always the better team that's going through. I mean, this is most of these guys' first season in the Champions League. First season with Arsenal for sure. And I think they're learning. But I think Porto was a bit of a reality check for me as well. I mean, I was watching one of our best players of the season, Saliba, thinking, sending some right hospital passes out there. To all the players. I haven't seen him do that for the whole season. Against Porto, he couldn't hit, thinking water stood on a boat. So, I think the occasion might get the better of them. I think we can do them at home, but I think when we go to the Allianz Stadium, we might get a draw and it'll go to penalties again. And I think the flip will happen as what it happened to Porto. They'll boo us out the stadium.
Ooh.
And that's really not positive of me. I'm a really positive person, by the way, guys. Normally,
give me
we're going to win the double.
After that, I'm not even drinking.
Calm our nerves again now. Liam, again, what do you think of the situation with us being at home first? Do you think that will sort of maybe turn the ship for us and be a problem, or do you think that if we're confident enough to get the business done when we're, as Jonesy said, a full Emirates Stadium for Lagunas for the first time,
Yeah.
do you think that if we can get a really positive result, then that will change the mindset going into that away fixture as well?
I want to be realistic first, Abby. Harry Kane only scores a penalty at the North Bank. That's all he ever does, is score a penalty at the North Bank.
And he dives for that.
Yeah, that's all he ever does. So that's the first thing we've got to make sure we don't do, is make no fouls in the box. But in terms of Bayern Munich, they're going to turn up like Porto did, and of course they are. They're going to turn up and not wanting to concede. So what you see with Porto at home is exactly what Bayern Munich are going to do, but with obviously more superior players. It's down to us. It's down to us. Like, can I see us beating them by 2 clear goals? Yes, I can. Like, if we can beat Liverpool 3-1, and let's be honest, Liverpool are one of the best teams in the world this season. Don't let Liverpool fans hear that though, but they are one of the best teams at the moment. But look, you look at, we beat Man City at home. We've gone and drew. We haven't lost at Anfield for a couple of years. I know I'm going on about these games, but we know how to play the big games now. Do you know what I mean? Like, this team's grown and knows how to play the big games. I do agree with Abby though. My concern is if we need a 2-goal, head start going into Munich, because if we don't get a 2-goal head start going into Munich, that's where the experience of the players, and where Abby's saying that the Champions League experience could unlock us.
Yeah.
It could unlock us if we don't get that kind of lead. 60,000 Arsenal fans, no Munich fans. It's not going to be a nice place for Bayern Munich to come into whatsoever. But yeah, again, it's going to be how we start that game. It wouldn't surprise me if we start the game electric, because we know what Arsenal are capable of doing. We know Arsenal can blow away teams. We know we can do that. But it all depends us in that first leg. What happens in that first leg basically determines whether we're going into semi-finals or not. For me,
yeah.
But I'm still confident. I've got no reason not to be confident. Like, as I said, we've turned up against Man City, we've turned up against Liverpool, we've turned up against the likes of Man United and all them likes over the last year. I know it's a different European team, but let's be honest. I look at the continental teams now, and I look at Bayern Munich, and I think, well, Man City and Liverpool are better than them anyway. So why can't we go and beat them? And why can't we go to Munich and go and finish the job off if we need to? I'd rather, in some ways, go into a second leg away knowing what we've got to do. So if we are 2 goals ahead, I do think that we've got the team now to set up to frustrate teams away from home. We've got such a good defence now. And you've got to remember, and I'm not saying he's going to be playing at any moment, but we've got Timber coming back. We've got Saliba and Gabriel that have performed in an incredible partnership now. You've got Ben White on the right. You've got Declan Rice there. You've got Thomas Partey, who's about to come back into the squad as well. And I think he will come back into that lineup after the international break. I really do. So we've got a strong squad coming in. And like you said, Abby, Havertz, he's been absolutely incredible. Like, if you're going away into Munich, that's the geezer you're going to want up front, ain't you, to hold the ball up. So we've got the players. There's no reason why we can't go out and do it. But I do think the first leg, we do need to try and get a 2-goal head start.
And let's not forget, they've got Kieran. They've got Dyer, haven't they?
Even better. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll get Ramsey sit on the bench again, and then let him know whose stadium it is.
Such a joke.
Yeah.
Get Dyer sent off.
Yeah.
Memories, isn't it? That's going to add a little bit of spice to the game as well, isn't it, Sparks? Knowing that, well, obviously we don't really care, and the players won't care who's on their team as such, but knowing that they're used to those players a little bit more, aren't they? Especially against Eric Dyer. But as well, going into that game, do you think it's also going to help with, obviously, their form in their respective league isn't that great either? So then maybe, of course, they're in the Champions League. We all know that they're pretty much giants of the competition. But do you think that we can now see that team maybe isn't what they used to be as well? And as we're evolving, and other teams that maybe were at the top for a little while are starting to, their players are getting older. Obviously, as I said, they're losing form in their league as well. So do you think that's something that we can sort of capitalise on?
To an extent, yes. But overall, no. They've got pedigree in the competition. Even the players that have gone over there from Spurs have still got pedigree in the competition. Although, they made it to a final. Apparently, that's winning something. But, but it's still pedigree, isn't it? And it's something we've not had for a while. And even when we were in it, the ambition to actually win it, I don't think our board was doing either. So we don't really have any pedigree in it. Certainly not since like 2006. You got the 2016 one, where was it when Van Persie got sent off? That's probably the last time we were actually anyway near serious in the competition. But it's a tough game. It's a 50-50 for me, maybe a 60-40 for them, purely because of the pedigree. The quality of the players that we have is so much better than it was. And again, like Abby and Liam say, I think Havertz is crucial. I think the way he plays, I think the way he's actually turning up and actually playing, he lends itself more to the Champions League than it does the Premier League anyway. Because he kind of draws players towards him, plays that little ball around the corner. We was talking about it the other week, and I don't think there's actually anybody better at it at the moment, striker wise. Certainly not in the English league. I mean, Haaland, the robot, is the obvious one, but with their back to goal and against centre backs the way they are, I don't really think there's anybody better at doing that. So yeah, he's going to be key. Obviously, getting all the players back is an advantage, but I don't think we can beat anybody on our day, and we can do it over two legs certainly. But I agree with Liam as well. I think we need to be taking a 2-goal lead over there. I'm not saying we can't do it if we only take a 1-goal lead over there, but or any kind of lead at all. But yeah, it's a tough one. I'm still on the fence. Not overly optimistic, but not overly pessimistic either. I'm literally on the fence with it. So yeah, I hope we're going to get through it. Unfortunately, we've seen it all before, haven't we? At the end of the day, and hopefully it's an escape from the rule, and rather than we're just following the script.
Yeah, and do you, just on that as well, do you think that sometimes we're a bit damaged from previous years, that we're kind of not allowing ourselves to get too ahead of ourselves with this and get excited?
I'm not a bit damaged. I'm destroyed. So yeah, until something comes in the cabinet the other way, then I really won't believe it, to be honest with you. Even if you got to the final and it was Barcelona, or I believe it when I see it. But I cross my fingers. I support with every bit of my being. I try not to have a heart attack in between, and yeah, hopefully we lift the Big Ears trophy at some point in my life.
I'll tell you what is gutting though. When you look at the other side of the draw, and I'll just get it up quickly, but when you look at the other side of that draw, I'd have fancied any 4 of them teams in that other side of that draw, and I think I'd have confidently come on here and said I'd have given you guys a good reason why we'd have beat every single one of them. So it just shows you, yeah, right, that we got the right unlucky side of the draw, and we got personally the three teams that we probably didn't want to meet to the final.
I agree with that, but I think that's been our downfall in the past. And
I think it's a different team, though, mate. I know what you're saying about.
I agree. It's completely different. I know it's a different team, but it's the mentality of us as fans, I'm not talking about the team itself, I'm talking about us as fans, we've fallen into that trap of basically going, it's a weaker team, so we're all right. And
but we're better than all right now. Like I look at the Premier League now to the rest of the competition, and I look at Real Madrid. Yeah, they're bang up there. Do you know what I mean? I look at Munich. They ain't what they used to be. I totally understand what you're saying, but this is a totally different team to 10, 15 years ago. We've got 2 decent centre backs now. Do you know what I mean? We've got centre midfielders galore that can sit in there and do a defensive midfield job. Back in the day, mate, we had Almunia in goal. We had William Gallas. We had Sylvester. Do you know what I mean? We didn't even have a defensive midfielder half time. We had the Nielsen.
I don't dispute that. I don't dispute that one little bit. But I mean, obviously, these guys still got pedigree. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, and
the club's name have got pedigree. The club's name have got pedigree.
Yeah.
And we got to come out of that fear about the club's name. Let's go 11 on 11 and go and beat them. Do you know what I mean, on the pitch? And yeah, you're not gonna believe it as such till it happens. But I just think it's a totally different era, totally different mindset now, and I don't see any reason why. Do you know what? I'll be totally honest with you. Like, we could get knocked out by Munich, Madrid or Man City, but we could go and beat Munich, Man City or Madrid as well. That's the difference now.
I'll tell you, you know me. I'll still give every bloody ounce of everything, and I'll leave it in the stadium, and I'll not be able to talk after the game. It's just what I do.
That was Jonesy last Tuesday.
Yeah, yeah, you'd never been there, Liam. Honestly, Jesus. but yeah, even though I don't necessarily think it's a given, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to support with every. I'm like one of the players most of the time, and I get people in the crowd telling me to sit down and do whatever. I'm like kicking every ball, doing every header. I'm a tactician. Doing bloody everything from a stand, and so I'll support until I drop dead.
I think we can all agree with that one. And just quickly to round up this game, the penalties. It was horrific to be watching at home. I mean, I know, Liam, you weren't. Unfortunately, you had to go, and it was probably much worse of your situation as well. But Jonesy, what was it like being in the ground? Not just to have to watch them physically, but the atmosphere, and how were you feeling when our boys were stepping up?
I think I must have said the Lord's Prayer every time we took a penalty. Every time they took a penalty, it was like I had an old woman was in front of me, and she turned around. She goes, "I'm going to watch you." I said, "No, don't watch me, because I'm turning away as well." But it was, you just sit there praying. But I stood and faced it. But yeah, it was. To be fair, every one of them that stepped up looked confident. None of them looked nervous. The penalties, all of them were brilliant. All of them smashed in. No cheeky panekas or anything like that. It was all proper penalties. And David Raya as well, brilliant. He got, he saved the first one onto the post. The second one after that, he was close to getting a hand to that as well. He got a fingertip on it. And then the last one was just a brilliant save as well, which sent the stadium in raptures. But you know what? I just have to point out Saka's penalty. That boy, from coming from the Euros when he took a penalty to up until that game, he's got the weight of the world on him. The pressure and everything, such a young age. His Nando sauce, I'll plug it. But yeah, it was brilliant. The guy was brilliant. And this guy, I think it settled the debate on Twitter, to be fair. I had some idiot behind me saying, we should sub on Ramsdale for the penalties. I don't think he remembered he got lobbed from about 50 yards last season in the Europa League.
Ali McCoy's was saying that on the commentary.
Yeah.
He
must have been plugged into the guy behind me then. But it was, I'm just glad he settled the debate. He's the number one now. Let's face it. And let's move on. Let the guy do his job, and he's doing his job well for us, to be fair.
Exactly. And just lastly, with David Raya, we'll come to you, Abby. There was, I don't know if you saw it, there was the comparison of his post-match interview when Thierry Henry was asking him, what would you rather win? And he was like, both. And I'm focused. And then they were kind of flipping that to Aaron Ramsdale's interview, saying, well, I can't actually concentrate for 90 minutes and I'll just give it. And do you think that also then sort of shows whose head is really in it? I know his Ramsdale's personality is a little bit different, of course, and he's used to the English football leagues and getting abused and giving it back, and that's all great. But when it comes down to it, saying, well, actually, I can't focus on my job against someone that's like, no, I want to win everything. One is not an option; it all is. I'm fully focused, everything for 90 minutes. Do you think that just sort of maybe relays back to Arteta as well of his decision making to pick Raya in the end?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think, David Raya has probably had the most boring job of any player who's ever played for Arsenal at the moment. I mean, like, nothing's really getting through to him, especially since like they come back from Dubai. He's just there, isn't he? He's another player, but it is really helping us. He is. It's like having a 12-man on the pitch, and you've got a goalkeeper behind you. I can do my maths. But Arteta's talent ID is right up there, because don't forget, he wanted this guy before we got Aaron Ramsdale, and there was a reason for it. He's a very Arteta signing, isn't he? I like that. He really embodies really what a goalkeeper should be. Listen, I love Aaron Ramsdale. We all love Aaron Ramsdale. I love what he gives. And I would love to see him as the number one England goalkeeper. But as an Arsenal fan, wanting my team to win everything that they can, I want someone like David Raya between the sticks. And those saves, I don't know whether that first one that I think a load of people were saying that he didn't save it, but I swear to God, he got a glove onto that. And if he hadn't got that was creeping in. Anyway, that first little penalty. I never realised he was going to be so good at penalties. I thought he was meant to be small as well. And then I've got Ali McCoy's telling me he's massive. He's massive. Did he mean by height? Did he mean in personality or anything like that? He's massive. But he looks absolutely tiny. And I thought I can say a lot about the media and a lot about how BT and Sky cover Arsenal matches, but I thought it was really notable how they showed both Ramsdale and Raya coming together. There's a lot said about maybe a bit of animosity between the two players, and you couldn't see anything like that there. And it was just so great. It's completely shifted that narrative, and it's really helped, I think, cement David Raya as the number one. All these little bits, the saving of the penalty, how calm he is in goal, especially after Ramsdale's Brentford game. We've created the perfect storm for goalkeepers. Ramsdale will go out, deal with a lot of aplomb from the fans, but we've got our number one now, and we've got him for a very long time. Mark my words, Alisson, he's out now. He's old, isn't he? He needs to leave along with Klopp now. He does, and it's going to be David Raya as one of the top two goalkeepers in the country in the next couple of seasons.
Yeah, I agree with you there. So just finishing up on that game and moving on to a bit of news of the week. I think it was last Thursday. I'm not sure, but if it is, we're going to mark that as Sir Ben White's day going forward, because there was the contract extension, wasn't there, that was slightly rumoured the evening before, so I think we were kind of expecting some sort of an announcement, but also the fallout between what was happening with him deciding to not put himself forward for England selection as well. Liam, what did you make of the news coming out from Southgate and his reaction of trying to, in my opinion, throw Ben White under the bus?
Yeah, I don't really understand what Southgate was trying to get from it, if I'm being totally honest. For me, something's happened, like in the World Cup. Okay, something's definitely happened in the World Cup. Gareth Southgate knows what that's about. Ben White knows what's that about. And I'm sure Mr. Holland knows what that's about as well. This is a player who, at the time of being at Arsenal Football Club, has not caused us any issues whatsoever. You've not had to see Mikel Arteta kind of manage him in any kind of disciplinary way or any kind of issues. His performances on the pitch have been absolutely top class. And I think Ben White was never treated right from the get-go with England, if I'm being totally honest. Like, I remember sitting there game after game thinking, how's this guy not getting in? You've got the fridge, or whatever you want to call him, getting in, who's done absolutely nothing in the last 2 years, and has gone from club captain of Manchester United to basically being a bench player. John Stones, I think, is a good player and deserves to be there. But then when you start looking at the competition around him, you got Guehi. He's a good up and coming young player, but that's pretty much where he is at the moment. And he should be in the squad, but potentially he's not going to get in the team at the moment. You look at Tomori. Yeah, he's okay, but he's gone out to Italy. I don't think he's going to be the absolute real deal, if I'm being totally honest. Then you look at Ben White's performances. You sit there and think, well, how's this guy not got in? How has this guy not got in the squad before? Do you know what I mean? You look at him, you think he can easily play right back, as he's proven now, but he could easily play centre back as well, and he'd be an upgrade at certain kind of aspects. And the good thing about Ben White is you could play him at 3 in the back. Now, Mr. Southgate himself loved the 3 at the back. He loved the 3 at the back, and you'd have sat there and you'd gone, Ben White is the most ideal player to play right centre back out of that 3. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely bang on. But he didn't. He'd rather play Kyle Walker out there as the right centre back, which, okay, Kyle Walker's got pace and all that, but he's not a right centre back. He's a right back. And it's become a point where it's costing England. And this, being totally honest, it is costing England winning trophies at the end of the day. This team, if they don't go out and win the Euros, in my opinion, Southgate has to walk. He has to walk. Like, you look at this team now, you look at the players he's got, and you think, how can you not get to a final with this team? Like, I don't even think it'd be an excuse anymore to kind of even lose to France at the end of the day. We need to go out there and we need to win it all. But I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And I think he's been treated really wrong from the get-go. I think obviously something's happened in the World Cup and it's obviously really gone off. And then Mr. Southgate then decides to obviously use his press conference to kind of exploit the situation, but basically throw Ben White under the bus. Like, you see the amount of abuse that Ben White got after him doing that interview. Now, for me, that is a really shocking situation. And I'd be really, do you know what? I'd be quite pleased if Mikel Arteta comes out in his next conference and says something about it, because I don't think that's what you should be doing, especially as a national England manager, to be doing to a player. We know what the press are like in England. We know what social media is like. And I got, to be honest, I got loads of text messages, just let alone from different fan bases, absolutely slating Ben White down. They all got told to do one, and I don't really give a fuck anyway. But the thing is, this is what Gareth Southgate's done now. And he's put Ben White in a bit of a situation now where he can't really turn anywhere. And I just think it's disgraceful behaviour, if you like to ask me. And I just think, coming from an England manager, it should have been like that. And I'll tell you the best part of it all. The best part of it all I read last night was that he's considering bringing Mason Greenwood back next year to England. Now, you throw Ben White under the bus, but you say absolutely nothing about Mason Greenwood.
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave it there. I absolutely leave it there.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And Sparks, is it from the Arsenal point of view? I mean, for me, I was just thinking, well, great. Well, he's going to stay with us. He's going to not go away and potentially get injured or not played for a start. He's going to stay at whatever the training ground's now called. It's not called Colney anymore, is it? He's going to stay
it's
there.
Still called Colney. It's whatever you want to call it. It's
He's
a sober training facility, but it's still.
It never will be, will it? It's always Colney to us. But he's there. Obviously, we've seen him in the pictures yesterday, or maybe today. He's there training, keeping up the fitness, momentum, in and amongst the ground. From an Arsenal point of view, are you just happy to accept that he's going to stay with us now going forward, and we'll take that as a win for us?
Well, to a point, yeah. But I mean, he's going to get booed up and down the country. That's literally what's going to happen. It's not going to end there. It's literally going to be. There's going to be sections of certain fan bases just boo him up and down the country. It's the same as what happened to Beckham when Hoddle did it. It's exactly. He's going to be public enemy number one. I don't know who this guy thinks he is.
Piece of
because
shit.
he's a shit manager anyway. He's not brought any silverware to us. Liam said, "Oh yeah, it's a disgrace that he doesn't get to a final." He took us to a final and he didn't win it.
Bottled it.
Against Italy. Bottled it. Played with the handbrake on for the entire game. Shit game plan. And then comes out fucking with his tail between his legs. And we're just supposed to accept it. He's shit. And he has no right to talk to anybody in the media like the way he's done. He has no right to do that to any player. You won't see him do it to any other player. But because he's called him out and basically gone, back me or I'm not coming, because that's basically what he's done. He's called him out in the media. That is the worst piece of man management, the worst piece of controlling a situation. You literally have an agenda there. That's all it is. The agenda is to get the heat off you. You're not picking Ben White because people are asking him why isn't Ben White in the fold? Why can't he say there's other options?
Yeah.
Why can't he manage it so much better than that? It's just a disgrace. And Goldbridge, put a TikTok out. I think it was yesterday. He put it out, and even he said, "Well, Southgate doesn't pick form players anyway. If you played form players, and he's just going to get picked, and he's going to get taken there, and he's actually going to play, then we can all understand it. But he's going to get picked. He'll be third choice, maybe fourth choice, because he's got his favourites. He's just a tool. He doesn't deserve to be in that job. He just doesn't. I'm sorry. I get really passionate about it. I used to follow England everywhere. He has killed English football for me. He's killed tournament football for me. I hardly watch it. I've missed games and all sorts. I never used to, I'd be on when the tickets are on sale. I'd be the first one on the actual website to get my ticket. I just can't be bothered anymore. He's just killed it, ruined it, absolutely ruined it. It's just a travesty, and not winning that game. What were Italy when we played them? 10th in the world, 12th in the world.
Probably,
they were on a downward spiral, and I'm sorry, if you can't beat them, then he should have walked then. He should have walked then. I can't do the job. You know that interview on the Overlap where Neville went, "Oh yeah, if this is Arteta's area, and this is he can't take him any further."
Yeah.
That's what should have happened with Southgate. I can't take you any further. I got to a final. I can't take you any further. I'm gone. That's what should have happened. Anyway, sorry for my rant.
No, it's all good, isn't it? Jonesy, on a more positive note, obviously I mentioned Ben White signing a contract extension. We've said it before as well a few times. There's so many times where we've not tied down our best players and let them go, but now we seem to have turned that completely. And even well before the contract mid-season, we're now tying Ben White down for a couple more years. So do you think that's positive as well from the club, but also for him to know that this is now where he wants to be? The fans are on board with him, the club are fully backing him, and he could just continue to improve going forward now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's amazing, isn't it, to see these players now. They want to stay. They want to stay, and they all talk about winning. Every player, that video that they put out for his signing, I shed a tear. I think we all got a bit teary-eyed. They all talk about, hopefully winning trophies with us. That's their mentality now. And it just paves the way for the younger players, like the Ethan Namwaris and all them guys, in the youth squads. They're thinking, hang on, these players are signing on. Something big's happening at the club. They want to stay on. But Ben White, he is brilliant. He's such a shithouse as well. I think he gets away with a lot of it because he's so cool and calm. You know, like with Odegaard squad, I just remember him flicking the ball up and kicking him on the head with it. He's the biggest shithouse, and you know the beef he had with Foden at the Emirates last season. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be as polite as Sparks. Southgate's a piece of shit. For me, English football is about the Lionesses, not about the men.
I did say that, by the way.
Yes.
Oh, you did say, okay.
I did say that. I wasn't polite at all.
That was polite for me then, I'll
And
say.
Chris,
but
I can.
it was polite for me. For me, I'm like Sparks. I've got no interest in men's international England. For me, it's the Lionesses. I watch them. They're England football to me. Until this clown's out of that job, and I can't wait for it. If he is getting the Man United job, I can't wait. So then Arteta can, when we batter United, I hope Arteta can say a few things. And wouldn't it be lovely for Ben White to score a winner with him in charge at United, and he just runs up and gives him the double finger, like fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin? It'd be brilliant.
Yeah, we would all pay to see that, I'm sure. That would be class. And Abby, just finally coming to you on that as well. More so in regards to Ben White's contract, and as well, I don't know if you saw the interview that he did with, I think it was one of his friends actually that interviewed him, just walking around the ground, just basically saying that this is his home. He's obviously been used to going out on loan, being at club for 1 year, going out somewhere else on loan, coming out, going to a different club. But as well, do you think that now that he knows he is secure and he's settled, that is only going to help him personally as well to then become possibly a legend going forward for us?
Oh yeah. He's already a legend in my eyes. My missus asked me on a weekly basis, "Who's your favourite player now?" And the majority of the season, Ben White has been my favourite player because of his shithousery. Okay, and his tan. I do love a good tan and one of those eyebrow marks as well. I love a bit of that. I'm glad I'm going on the positive side of this, because my mum always said to me, if you haven't got anything nice to say, Abigail, you shouldn't say anything at all. And I've got nothing nice to say about Gareth Southgate. The fact that he lost us Euro 96 and he's still doing it now as a manager of England. Get out of it. Although I think he'd be great for Man United, and I really think they should go for him. I'm so happy for Ben White. You can tell that he is... You can tell it means so much for him to like lay down his roots. And maybe this is one of the reasons, we don't know, but maybe this is one of the reasons why he hasn't been able to acclimatise to the England structure. There's lots of rumours going around out there. Could it be his mental health? Could it be associated with the injury? I mean, we forget he was playing through like a third of the season, this season, with an injury, and it took him to go away to Dubai to fully recover. He's not had an operation. We hear that he plays through his injuries. Could that be another reason why he's kind of, he said, "I'm all right, thanks," just like that. He says it just like that. Why is it Edu as well? Why is Edu having to to make the phone call? So that's why it's something dodgy there. There is definitely something dodgy there. So yeah, it just shows that he's a loyal guy, and I think we need players like that. There's too many of these peeping Todd Bowleys out there that want to come round and grab our best player, and he could play for any of the top teams in Europe. So the fact that we've tied him down and he's happy about it, you can see that he's happy about it. He wants to learn under Arteta. He's really, he's completely changed his right back role. And I don't think that would have happened if Timber had stayed fit, by the way. I still don't know whether Timber's going to play on the right, he's going to play on the left, he's going to play in the middle, where's he going to play? But the fact that we now have that, and I think next season we're really going to see something very interesting where we could switch it up, because we have an overlapping right back and we have a right back that can play inverted, but we also have the same thing on the left as well. So I can't wait to see him really flourish. And I think the Timber signing coming in, and Tommy Asu. Oh, hello.
We're still here.
Oh no, I think we lost you.
Something happened.
We can still hear you if you can hear us.
Still
No.
Hear me, I think it's great.
Perfect. Yeah, Liam, we'll just finish, as you put the picture of your and Timber up there, we'll just finish the men's section with that. obviously we've seen him in training now a little bit here and there. We know it's a big injury, so it's gonna be a recovery process. But how excited are you to see this man potentially get involved before the end of the season again?
Oh yeah, I'm really excited, and I think we will see him. I know we had a bit of a discussion last week. I was kind of booed out of it at the time that he won't come back this season, but I'm confident he will come back this season. I'm confident as well that because of the kind of player he is, I think we might get a good period of game time out of him, and I think personally, if we can maybe get to the Bayern Munich game away, with just kind of integrating him back on the bench, getting him some minutes and all that, it might not surprise me. That'd be the kind of game that he might come back and get in the team. But yeah, we see him for the pre-season. I see him against Man City in the Charity Shield. I thought he was absolutely superb. I thought in that first half against Forest, he was superb. And I was so excited, and I was so gutted when obviously he done his UCL, and I couldn't believe it because, yeah, he has so much promise, and I just think that this guy is a big piece in terms of the way Arteta's going to move forward with this team. And I think if you think it's good now, wait till you get this guy in his team and he's properly playing. Wait till next season. Because I could see what he was trying to do and what he was trying to implement in them first couple of games. And I think Timber's a massive piece to that. And I'm well excited to see him return. I'm actually quite excited to see Partey now back in the team as well. So I think there's some really good positive things happening within the club now coming out of the international break. And it just strengthens us for the title race. Do you know what I mean? It strengthens us in the Champions League. And it'd be lovely, wouldn't it, if we can get to the semi-finals of the Champions League, because then we can kind of, by that point, you should fully expect by that point, Partey and Timber to probably be back in that team.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to finish on that, it's one more week of pain to watch the international break until we can get our football back. It's already 1 week down, 1 week to go pretty much, isn't it? It's already painful. And I can't wait for it to be over so we can just get on and kick into this final section of the league and the season as well. But yeah, is there anything else in the chat going on? Any questions at all? Or should we just head straight on into the women's section?
Yeah, let's go into the painful part.
Oh, yeah, lowering the mood even further. So yeah, Friday night, of course, it was the big one. The Chelsea away, finally being played at the at Stamford Bridge. I couldn't think of it then. Notoriously, the games that they do let them play in that stadium are some of the weaker teams in the WSL. So it's really nice for them to finally listen and put on a show as it was and allow this big fixture with so much riding on it to be at Stamford Bridge, albeit a Friday evening. And I think as well, we had an allocation of 6,000, which for an away game is actually pretty good. I think they acknowledged that the Arsenal would take a lot of fans and there was a lot of demand for the Arsenal fans to see this game. So it's nice that they sort of incorporated that, because you wouldn't see that in the men's game as such, would you? You want to limit the away fans as much as you can. So it was nice on Chelsea's part. But Jonesy, I'll come to you first in regards to the team sheet there. There were in my mind, a few surprises that I wasn't all too happy with, seeing that going from some of our previous games, previous squads, to then see this. I felt it was all a little bit muddled and probably set the tone for what was going to happen. What did you think when you saw the team sheet come out?
First of all, I was like, well, where's Russo? What the hell is he doing? Why is she not starting? Probably our biggest game in the WSL this season. We need to win this game. So let's put her on the bench. I just didn't get it. I've been calling for Blackstenius and Russo to play together. It's happened a couple of times and there's big things that have happened. But it just looked like he had just said, who's fit? Right, you're playing. That's what it felt like. I said, you're on. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't a case of a setup, a formation, a kind of tactics. It was just like, you're fit, you're playing. But, just to touch on the Chelsea stuff as well, I just think it was all wrong from the get-go. I mean, they confiscated flags, banners. The socks as well was just absolutely atrocious. We had to buy our own socks in the club shop and put black tape around them. I just think Chelsea come with a game plan, and I don't necessarily think it was all to a game plan on the pitch. It was more mentally and stuff like that. But then again, the manager needs to do his job. I'm not a fan of him. I've made it quite vocal in many group chats. I just was baffled by that lineup, especially with Russo not starting.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. To be fair, goalkeeper is always going to be the goalkeeper at this stage, I think, until maybe the summer. But the back four was pretty much what we would expect as well. But yeah, that front line, I was the same with you. I thought that Stina and Russo have actually been working so well together and really given a different sort of level up top to what we've been used to without having Miedemar around. So for me, that was the first thing that stood out as well for me. Not seeing her, I thought that was really unfair because she's been playing very well recently as well.
Yeah.
But Liam, coming to you on the sock situation, I don't know if you know too much about it, but I turned the telly on about 10 minutes before. The crowd were going crazy. It looked like a great atmosphere. And then all of a sudden I thought, hang on a minute. It's nearly 7 o'clock. Why are they not out? And then up pops, game delayed. But they didn't say it for a minute. They kind of just went, oh, sorry, it's delayed for half an hour. And weren't really feeding the information. And then to find out that it was our own kit man that has played an absolute blinder and forgot the red socks. History shows that we always take red socks when we go to Chelsea. So to have that, on such a big occasion, do you think it was also a way for a lot of people that maybe were tuning in for the first time, just thought, you know what, if this is what's going to happen in the women's games, can't be bothered for it?
Well, it's a massive game, isn't it? Like, it's Arsenal versus Chelsea. It's the title race on the line. You get, like you said, potentially you can get new viewers who might take it seriously, and then that kind of happens, and then you get the monsters come out, don't you, and they start ridiculing like the women's game again. And it's all because one guy couldn't do his job. And that's what it all comes down to. One guy didn't do his job properly. But it's obviously, it's a high-profile game. It's on TV. It don't look good whatsoever. And, yeah, when obviously I put the TV on and I heard it, I was just like, what the hell is going on? Don't get me wrong. I think with that lineup, I don't think we'd have won the game either way. But it would have brought a lot of... It wouldn't have played in our favour, that either, because they're in the change room and they're probably thinking what the hell's going on, and then they're having to mess around with like trying getting new socks on and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's just it was just a horrible night, wasn't it? That kicked off with the kit man, if we're being totally honest with you, and it's just spiraled out of control. But I agree with Jonesy. I was very shocked with that lineup. I was very shocked that Russo, a player that is so high profile, is not playing in that game at Stamford Bridge, is not playing up front. I just think shocking. I thought it was absolutely shocking. And we spoke at the week before and we said, like, Blackstena, she's going to be unlucky again, isn't she? Because she's banged an hat-trick. But let's be honest, it was a totally different game. You're going away to Stamford Bridge. You're going away into their backyard and the title's on the line. That's like us dropping Martin Odegaard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's like us dropping Martin Odegaard, and saying, do you know what? We're going to play him with Smith Roadster instead. It just wouldn't happen in that high-profile kind of game. And I tried to back him the other week and say, look, do you know what? I think we need to get to next season. But after Friday, I find it quite hard to defend him. And I just feel sorry for the 6,000 fans that turn up there. Honestly, it was just a car crash from start to finish. And, these guys put their blood and sweat on the line, don't they? They go to all the games at Bournemouth, all the games at Emirates, travel up and down the country. They turn up and they got that. And I think the club should be ashamed of themselves, if I'm being totally honest, on Friday. From the kit man to the manager to the performance on the pitch by the players. I think they should all be ashamed of themselves last week, and I think we deserve much better. And do you know what? If it was the men's game, we'd say exactly the same thing. So
Yeah.
I think the same thing does need to be said, and I just think that they now need to go out and put a big performance on in that cup final.
Oh God, yeah. Sparks, I know you did. I know you said that you did watch a little bit of the game.
I watched the first half actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. After that, it was see you later.
I think that was hard enough to complete the 45 minutes, to be honest.
Yeah, it was
But
painful.
what did you think of it?
Well, I did notice. So the first thing I noticed was in the tunnel. They panned up the camera to all the players in the tunnel, and every single Chelsea player was looking down at the socks. So that, I mean, that's got to be a mental advantage already. You know, the fact that the game's delayed, the crowd's been silenced. I mean, I don't know what their crowd is like at Stamford Bridge, but you know, from what I've seen, our travelling support is quite loud as well. But yeah, they were all looking down at the socks, and it was just like, yeah, this isn't good, is it? You know, and obviously, even I noticed that Russo's not playing. What the hell? You know, I mean, I'm no expert on the lineups and such, but yeah, you sign a high profile player, and I was like, is she injured? And then I went, no, she's on the bench. Okay, did she get a knock in the warm up?
Mm.
Oh, perfectly fine. Okay, this seems a bit odd. So yeah, and then the performance really kind of happened. Yeah, it wasn't very good, was it? It was a bit of a car crash. I mean, the goals that they scored were
Comical.
a little bit lucky, a little bit bizarre. That goal, Zinsberger, Jesus, what was she doing there?
It doesn't help the argument of should she have signed a new contract, really, does it? when that
Absolutely not.
happens?
No, she's always looked a bit flaky to me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Sorry, go
on.
No, I was just going to say a little bit in her fairness. It could have been 5 or 6, to be fair. She did put in a couple of good saves towards the second half, and that I'm not sure how much you saw, but yeah, the first goal was a treasure. I mean, the first 10 minutes we had great chances, 2 great chances from Little, but yeah, like you say, it was just comical goals.
It was a bit. The defending was all over the place. It was really all over the place, and yeah, he didn't look like he had any ideas of what to do to kind of solve the problem. So yeah, I mean, I see why people call for his head. He doesn't look. He doesn't look like he's got that many ideas. To be fair.
Yeah, I agree. Catherine had a good question just before that one, just to say why couldn't Chloe Lacasse or Sabrina D'Angelo play? I fully agree. I was on Lottie's show last week and said that I'd rather have seen Emily Fox back in defence and Lacasse, because I thought Lacasse had an amazing game at the Emirates against United. She was unbelievable and offered so much more than Caitlin Ford does. But I think it was more the fact that they had just returned back from America in the Gold Cup, hadn't they? So it was kind of understandable. But when he did bring them on, you could see we did sort of settle in a little bit more and have a bit more about us. Abby, what were your thoughts on the game the other night and the whole atmosphere of it?
Wow, Chelsea certainly stopped it to us, didn't they? I don't know. Again, my mum always said, you know, if I ain't got anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. It was just so disappointing. It was. The whole season, to be honest, has been a little bit underwhelming. It has, with the signing of Russo. I was kind of really hoping. I know we had a Beth out and Miedemeier and Leah and that, but I think we had enough. I think with the right coach, we would have had enough. We've got some very talented players in this team, and I don't know if we're getting the best out of them. And I was a strong supporter of Jonas, but yeah, he looked a shadow of himself on the sideline. Like somebody said, he was bereft of all ideas on what to do and how to change the game. And I don't know, maybe he might learn. Thing is, he signed a new contract, hasn't he? You know, I don't know if they're necessarily looking to get rid of him. I know that kind of means nothing. It's not worth the paper it's written on nowadays, is it? But you know, Arteta had to learn, didn't he, the hard way, and maybe Jonas has to learn as well. We have a cup final. I think we just now got, well, all we can do is focus on that, isn't it? The league's gone. It's just unfortunate that we play like that against a team like Chelsea, because especially in this league, you know, Chelsea are one of our, if not our biggest. I know Tottenham are our most hateful rivals, but they don't really rival us on the pitch ever. Whenever, it doesn't matter whether they win or not, they never rival us. But Chelsea, you know, do. And I know they sit second, but I haven't really been that impressed by Chelsea, to be honest. And they didn't have Carr, they didn't have Bright. It didn't seem to be a problem for them. They still just they were stronger all over the pitch. They were first the ball everywhere. And I'm wondering if we kind of just turned up a bit too cocky. I'm also wondering whether the rest of the players are sat there the same as us going, what the hell is this team? What's going on here then? Okay, boss, all right, you're going to play like that? I didn't really understand it, to be perfectly honest, and that's all I can really say for it. Well, one thing is the Chelsea have got a little bit like, they've got this kind of Klopp effect at the moment. They are losing Emma Hayes at the end of the season. This is the last chance to, you know, win another thing with Chelsea. So, you know, I think this gave them the extra impetus and they wanted it more.
Yeah, I fully agree. And another good comment there from Catherine. I think one thing we don't want is to have to change coaches at the same time as Chelsea. I mean, we spoke about this, didn't we? Now as maybe, well, a week or so ago, wasn't the right time to sort of change the club in a big way at the same time that Chelsea were. Maybe we could capitalise on the fact that they were changing, going to get someone new in, go through that period while we remained strong. Have your opinions changed on that now? Do you think the end of season we should be changing at the same time, or maybe grabbing someone that Chelsea may be looking for and just take what it is and maybe use that at the same time? If they're going through it, we can do it, and maybe get stuck in on it a little bit more and try and progress against Chelsea for once.
I'm going to stick with what I said last week, probably to Jonesy's dismay. I am going to stick to what I said, and I do believe that with Chelsea changing their manager, I think continuity might be key next year. But, and it's a big but, he needs to step up next year. He needs to get the girls back fit that have obviously been out all this year. That can kind of defend him a little bit. I'm not defending him as such, but what I'm saying is that he has had a lot of adversity in terms of big name players that have obviously been out this year. And I'll be honest, I do think, and Ryan, you can boo me as much as you like, but I think getting rid of a manager, then getting a new manager in the same time as Chelsea could end up being a bit of a head start for them next in terms of moving forwards. I just think that we need to get the girls back that are fully fit. And when I mean fully fit, we're talking about pre-season. Do you know what I mean? Leah Williamson's not fully fit. Bev Mead has come back into the team, but let's be honest, she hasn't had a pre-season. She's not turned back up the same kind of player. Do you know what I mean? Viv, we don't even know what's going on with her at the moment. Hopefully she can recover and come back next season. And obviously you got the other girl as well to come back. So you look at that, then you look at this goalkeeping situation. The goalkeeping situation 100% does need to be addressed. We need a much better goalkeeper in goal moving forwards. But I think let's not panic too much at the moment. It is a shocking result. He needs to take accountability. He needs to step up now. The kit man definitely needs to step up or get out. Do you know what I mean? You can't be making stupid errors like that. You literally, like, I agree with Sparksy. I think mentally that plays a massive factor. Like if I went and played if I went to a semi-final away with my Sunday league team, and then we all got socks and we're wearing the other club's socks, that will play in your mind. That will have some kind of mentality block in your mind thing, and it's just the whole shit situation around it. So they need to sort themselves out. Like this started right at the front start of the season, and it stemmed from Paris, in my opinion. We never expected to go out the Champions League at that point, and we sadly did. We then started the season to a defeat to Liverpool. We then only beat Aston Villa after coming back in the game in the 93rd minute and then somehow beating him in the end of it all. So the start of the season was disastrous as it was, and I just think it's played the whole season. But I do sit there and think, do you know what? Yeah, I think he needs to step up next year, and if he doesn't step up next year, then I think at that point the club then need to make a decision. Hopefully, he goes and wins the Conti Cup again. Hopefully, he goes and wins. I'm not confident if I'm being totally honest, yeah, but you never know what happens. Do you know what I mean? They could all step up. I was quite
last year, didn't we?
Yeah, they did. I was kind of like, I'm not surprised by Williamson not being back to where she is. She's not going to be back to where she is. Was that a big game, a really big game to kind of chuck her back in? I suppose that's the other question.
Yeah, that's it. It's a lot riding on her, isn't it? And you could see how visibly upset she was afterwards, sort of taking it on herself to say, and literally saying sorry to the fans. And she was quite visibly upset as well, which is never nice to see. Obviously, she took it on, and well, she's really the captain, I think, going forward, isn't she? She's Arsenal through and through. She stands up and takes accountability for the whole team. When you could, of course, you want her to be maybe standing up in the game, and she didn't have her best game. But then from a football point of view, you have to understand that she's just come back from a really bad long-term injury, and she hasn't even really completed a 90 minutes yet. So to throw her into that kind of game probably wasn't best suited for her as well, was it? And yeah, actually, a really good comment there from Emerson. We've lost Amanda Ilestead now. I mean, for good reasons. Finally, for good reasons, we've lost a player, which is obviously something we're all getting used to in football. She is pregnant and she's going to be out for the rest of the season, of course, while she has her baby, and probably going to miss pre-season and the start of next season as well. And rightly so. I think she deserves, all female athletes deserve the right to have a child while they're playing and to be able to continue to do so. What I did think was the video that came out of Jonas leading, but it was a video, I think it was a Tottenham game or something. They were about to go and watch it and analyse it when actually this popped up. And he said quite openly, whatever you want, we're here for you, which I thought was really nice to see that side of things, because obviously it's quite new to us seeing this happen, especially at our club. But Jonesy, I know you're not too much of a fan of Jonas, but do you think it's just goes to show the class of our club that they do care for their players quite obviously, and yeah,
it was a lovely touch. I mean, they thought she was having triplets because like the scan come up with 3 pictures, so yeah, it was quite funny as well. But it's just lovely to see. It's a family club and stuff like that. I won't bang on too much about the manager because we've all well, I say, in our differences of opinions. But I'm just I just have to say the Leah Williamson thing. That's him. That's made the decision to play at that game. That's his choice. He's picked that team. But forget that now. But yeah, it's great news for her. Hopefully she comes back well, baby's fit and healthy, she's ready to go again. And it's great to see. I think we should see it more with women players as well. They should celebrate it in sport, having babies. It'd be nice to see future a baby shower at the training ground or something like that, just to show a family club and stuff like that. But congratulations to her. It's brilliant news.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just thought as well, there was something popped up on the Arsenal page earlier today, and it was the 7-year anniversary of Beth Mead signing for us. And it was against Spurs, and it was also the day that she got her first goal for the club as well. Sparks, I'll come to you. What do you think of Beth Mead? Obviously, right now she's maybe not the form we're used to, but overall as a player, what do you make of her?
I mean, she's normally really in control of the game as far as I can see. I mean, I don't watch as much as you guys do of the women's game, but yeah, she always seems to be get herself involved. I think that was something Liam said about the men's game earlier on. And sometimes you just need somebody to basically propel themselves into the game and basically grip it, and she always kind of seems seems to try and do that to me. Just try to get involved that little bit more and have more of an impact on the actual game. So yeah, I mean, I've got limited knowledge because obviously I watch, or I've started watching very recently. So but yeah, she always seems to get involved for me. I think last year she was she injured last year or this year? Okay, so
last
it looks
season.
like from what I saw last year, she was obviously better. But if she's just recovering from an injury as well, so she's trying to work herself back into match fitness and such like. I just wondering, can we go back to that comment that basically says no one needs to step up more than the players? So we've got that no one needs to step up more than the players on the pitch. It's sport. Generals don't win, the soldiers do. I mean, that's not strictly true, is it? Your strategy is down to the generals, right? So as much as your soldiers on the field, if you send 3 over there and 2 over there and 1 up there and 1 over there, they're going to die, aren't they? So it's up to your generals to send them in the right locations, set them up in the right way, and then they step up and play, right? Because they're in their right positions, they're in the right locations, and they're fighting the battle for you, right? So it's kind of a dual process, It's not one or the other; it's both. And for me on the touchline, when the third goal, even when the second goal went in, he was on the touchline like a little puppy. He didn't know what to do. His face. So, no soldiers. What are you going to do with your stat? What? Very confused
Not a
now.
clue.
Anyway. So yeah. Anyway, you need a combination of both. So at the end of the day, it's not just about the soldiers on the field. It's about how they're sent out. So, in my opinion, and he has to take a lot of credit for the mess up, because he obviously wasn't set up right, and it wasn't through injury that he wasn't set up right. It was through his own choice. So, he has to take a lot of responsibility, I think is the word that I'm looking for. So yeah, he has to hold his hands up to that one, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I agree. He did have a huge involvement of how that game went downhill quite quickly. But yeah, just moving on to the weekend. Obviously, we're back in WSL action. Not West Ham, sorry, it's Aston Villa. Abby, how important do you think it is for the girls to get back on track in this game? Of course, the title's now gone, we know that. But to get back on form before we head into the Conti Cup final next weekend.
It don't matter. Just do whatever. Don't worry about it this weekend. No, I'm joking. Yeah, it's really important. It is. God, yes. Let's not have another weekend. Just freaking, I don't know. Like, don't go into the game thinking that you're going to win it. Wear your right socks. Take the right kit. You have a shower. And all of that great stuff. Play the team that we need to see on here. Don't worry about the fact that they play too many games now. Let's get them all up to scratch again, and we should be beating Aston Villa. Aston Villa are a drag team. They are, like, men's and women's football. Okay, God, I can't stand Aston Villa. Yeah, so yeah, it of course, like every game is really important. Okay, but let's see a little bit of more rotation. I was really disappointed that Leah Williamson had the game that she did, and she played for that amount of time and stuff. So let's not be pushing her too hard, because I want to see her in the final. Okay, and I want Russo out there. I love Russo as a player. Okay, I love her energy. I love her passion. It's a first season, and it's a bedding in season. But I want to see more of her and Beth play together, and I cannot wait for Miedemar to come in there. You know, I want to know how that dynamic is going to work, and I think it's going to be absolute fire when it happens.
Yeah, I agree. So just pretty much to finish off then, another comment here from Catherine. What do you think about the women going to Australia? I don't agree with it whatsoever, to be honest with you. I think it's the wrong time to be doing that. I don't know if you guys know, but we've got I don't know if it's one or a couple of friendlies out in Australia at the end of the season, a week before international games. They're flying all the way across the other side of the world to play pointless friendlies. And then they're going to have to come back. Obviously, some of the girls are going to be that side of the world anyway, but our girls, some of the others, are going all over the place to play these international games. A week later, I think we've already spoken before about the World Cup and going into Champions League qualifiers so soon, and it's just history repeating itself. And I think it's an absolute waste of time. Liam, what do you think of that news as well?
It's all commercial, isn't it? It's all getting your name out there, trying to commercialise the women's game. Arsenal try and do the right thing. It's a strange time, definitely, when there's an international break. Maybe they need 2 weeks in Dubai. We're being totally honest. we know how that one works out, don't we? But yeah, it's commercial. It's the commercial, isn't it, side of the aspects of the game. And this is where the problem lied, didn't it, at the start of the season? Like, we come out of a World Cup, which obviously, as a nation, we got to the final, and then within a week or so, Champions League matches being played. That's absolutely scandalous when we start looking back at it now and thinking about it. And it's no surprise that we wasn't prepared and ready for it. But why is that happening? And this is where the clubs need to sit down, obviously, with WSL and kind of get started these kind of conversations in terms of we need to be going back to kind of UEFA as well. And asking the question, why is this happening when you're playing a World Cup? Because that shouldn't be happening whatsoever. It wouldn't happen in the men's game. So why is that happening in the women's game? Do you know what I mean? And I think I just think moving forward, a lot of questions need to be asked. But they'll enjoy it, won't they? I guess a week away. I mean, Australia. I'm sure they'll be treated superbly well out there, won't they? Because obviously they were out there before during the World Cup and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. I think you're going to see a lot more of it, and I think you see a lot more of it within the clubs, especially in the men's game now. Like when there's a 2-week break or something's going on, they go somewhere across the other side of the world. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes for warm weather training, but there has been times, isn't there, when there has been a bit of a break. I'm sure during the World Cup, wasn't it, the men's World Cup? Didn't we go out? We went out, didn't we, somewhere during that break again?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
We'd probably Dubai,
it's
wasn't
the
it?
revenue side, isn't it? It's so much revenue
Dubai,
in it.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Pardon?
Yeah, it was Dubai. Yeah.
Dubai, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was Dubai. Was it Dubai?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we end up winning a penalty. We end up winning penalty shootouts there, didn't we, or something like that?
Yeah.
Something silly like that. And then we come back and got owned by Juventus at home. I remember that. I was about to get a ticket that day, and I'm glad I didn't get one. But yeah, it's all money. It's all money. But I don't agree when it is. Like, yeah, it should be proper in the pre-season, shouldn't it? Really.
Yeah,
They don't really need to travel that far. And Magaluf have a small-sided ladies football tournament. They do. They could go there and play in that.
Bit of warm weather.
I'm sure they enjoy that one. I know that.
Football tournament in Magaluf. Let's go.
I'm not sure how much football we played.
Yeah.
Well,
not
very
a
good
lot.
football. But yeah, I think unless there's any further comments or anything in there, Liam, I think that will pretty much do it for this evening, won't it?
Yeah, I just want to bring up one other thing quickly. Obviously, not many star boys got their own peri sauce, have they?
Hey. Oh, love it. Love a bit of chili sauce.
I tried to get a bottle this afternoon. No chance.
Of course you did. I knew you would.
They wouldn't let me have it. So you know what? I'm going to nick one. I'm
I think everyone else has.
going in there for dinner tomorrow. I'm going to take one.
Mate, do you know what? Right, though, all jokes aside, I've had a really tough day today, work-wise, and everything. Yeah, right. But that actually brought an absolute massive smile to my face, and he's just brilliant, isn't he, Saka?
Yeah.
He's just absolutely brilliant, and it was
No
good.
one else can do that, in my opinion. No one else could have the pull that he's had today by all the Arsenal fans. All I've seen all day is people in Nando's.
Yeah.
Either eating or they've stolen the bottle. Like I don't think anyone else in that league can have the reaction of what he's had with that today, because of how the great a person he is.
I do have one other question though that's just come to my mind, and it's about England. Did anyone see the prices for an England shirt?
Outrageous, yeah.
I haven't even seen this,
£125 or something.
Is that what it is?
85 for the normal version and 125 for the authentic.
Ridiculous.
It's a white t-shirt for crying out loud.
You can't even see the star. It's not even highlighted.
Listen, until Gareth Southgate leaves, I ain't buying nothing to do with England. I'm not buying a ticket. I'm not buying a t-shirt.
I'm potentially have to buy two of them now. Do you know what I mean? You start looking at it from a family point of view, though. It's disgraceful, isn't it? Like how much they're charging for something that every kid will want to wear, an England shirt. Like I know we're slated at Gareth Southgate, but when you start thinking about the kids and all that kind of stuff, big tournament coming up, what you should be trying to influence them is wearing the shirts. And at the moment, you're asking families to go out and just spend massive money on these England shirts. It don't sit right with me personally.
No.
Whereas Arsenal fans, you want to get Saka or Rice on it, you're looking at £100 with printing. Simple.
Yeah, for a shirt that will go out in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
I think that's worse, isn't it? They don't have the longevity that they shirts used to have.
No.
Now it's just the constant revolving door of brand new shirt, brand new kit, and everyone, of course, as you're a kid, you're going to want it. As adults, we're going to want it when it's nice. But yeah, it's pretty much ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
That said, if we got a Champions League winners medal, I'd send all my shirts off for putting a star on the shirt. Every single one of them.
I keep forgetting, like it's the Euros. All my eyes are on at the moment is last game of the season and hopefully the Champions League final.
Yeah.
And like Champions League final ain't until June the 1st, is it?
Yeah.
No.
We made a tournament this season.
We got a major tournament. I keep forgetting we got a major tournament.
Oh.
I'll tell you what,
Back about mine.
that bar will be open out in my garden. I can tell you that much.
Nice. But yeah, I think on that note we'll wrap it up for this evening. Obviously, thanks to everyone in the chat that's been really helpful, giving us lots of questions to talk to and lots of talking points throughout the show. We really appreciate it. So thank you very much. Liam, thank you for being the co-host as always.
No worries, absolute pleasure. I might not be on for the next few weeks, depending on the situation, but I'm sure Mr. Jones will step in for me.
No problemo.
We can always rely on him. Sparks, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me as usual, and good luck, Liam, with your upcoming.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thank you very much. I don't know whether that's a good thing or bad thing at the moment. I'll let you know in about a month.
And Jonesy, thank you for joining us again.
No problem. Always a pleasure.
And lastly, Abby, thank you for your debut with us, and hopefully we'll get you on again soon.
No worries, guys. Thank you ever so much for having me. Always a pleasure, never a chore.
No worries at all. Well,
I meant that as well, actually.
I'm very sarcastic.
Nice. Well, yeah, we'll be back obviously next Tuesday at 8:30. So do look out on the socials for us to be promoting that, and hopefully we'll see you all here and in the chat next week. Good night.
Night, guys.